Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Operation Heal 100 Hearts channel, where we do what? Focus on healing, humor, and hot motherfucking topics. As you guys know, if you are tuned into this segment of my channel, that means you're tuned into the hot topics. That means you want to hear the drama, and I love to give the drama. But today we are doing a show review on one of my favorite shows, The Barnes Bunch. We are on episode 6, so let's jump right into it, right? Before we do, if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe. Also hit the notification bell so you can get all my videos when they drop. Please hit the thumbs up and stick around to hear the video in its entirety so you can drop your comments in the comment section. Okay, let's roll. So now the episode starts with Matt calling Ananza to update her on the trial, right? So when he first called, he was doing his whole rigmarole. Oh, I can't believe this. I don't believe this is happening, so on and so forth. So Ananza is like, what? Oh my God, bad news, bad news. Talk to me, tell me. So then he was like, not guilty, which I knew he was pump faking from the way he was acting. So she was like, oh my God. So they was all acting all crazy. This is good news. She was swinging Ashton around, kissed him. We got good news, so on and so forth. I was happy to see they got some good news because Matt said something that I totally agree with. He said, from the outside looking in at that situation, folks will view it as it's just Matt being a typical Matt, which, like I told you guys in my last review, he can be known to be violent, right? And he was like, in this instance, I really didn't do anything. So I hope that, God comes through for me because he know I'm not at fault here. And it looked like God came through as usual. So like Matt and Ananza would say, God don't bless no mess. I agree. Anywho, it shifted over to the next scene, and the kids were there setting up for family dinner. All 6 of the kids were there. Ananza's kids, Matt kids, the kids they got together because they was all excited because Matt, remember the trial was in New York. So Matt was on his way home. So I was like, okay, they was going to have a little family dinner. The kids was there setting up, so on and so forth, right? So everybody sat down at the table. Matt came in. Everybody was so excited to see him. And then Matt and Ananza started letting them know that because the trial went well. And I mean, they didn't go into detail with the kids, which I respect. It's like, listen, we don't got to tell you all the ins and outs. They just let it be known that there was an issue and Matt was on trial for it and somebody was accusing him of something that he didn't do. But the court system proved that he was not guilty. All right. And they said there was a lot of money on the line. If he would have lost that case and been found guilty, they did share with them the amount, which could have been $6 million. And they said because they're not going to lose such a large amount of money that their engagement party is back on. So they like the kids all hyped. They're like, okay, it's lit. So Matt was like, it's lit. Y'all not going? So Naza was like, let the kids come. So they started getting into a little back and forth about if the kids should come. So they was like, well, let's flip a coin. The kids is heads, Matt is tails. They not coming, they coming. So anyway, they flipped the coin and it was in the kids' favor. It was heads. So they said, okay, you can come to the party. You can come to the engagement party, but they're only letting the kids come for the first couple of hours and then they're sending them home so the adults can really rock it. I was like, that sounds like a fair deal, because it is a family thing that you guys are coming together like a union. But in the same token, it's really for us adults and we want to party with other adults, right? So I was like, okay, they moved on from there, right? And the next scene, Matt is there washing the dishes, finishing up, what they have for dinner. And Ananza comes in and she starts wanting to talk about the IVF journey. Now, the IVF journey is going to be the central focus of this episode the entire freaking time. So, anywho, when she started talking about it, Matt gave a very supportive answer. He was like, listen, I'm open to exploring the idea. You just start getting appointments together, lining stuff up and getting stuff on the road. So, I was like, okay, that's cool. I like the idea of that. That Matt is on board with it. And I know Anaza's definitely in the realm of, listen, I'm ready to get this started because I want a baby girl. Right? So then Ananza switched gears and she was like, well, let's talk about Ava, which is Ananza's daughter. That's not the child she had with Matt. Those are her children from her previous marriage, right? Her child from her previous marriage. And what happened with Ava is Ava can't shut the fuck up in school. So basically what they both said, Matt and Ananza, is that, Ava don't really give too much trouble, but she is talking fucking Tammy, and that can sometimes get her in trouble. Other than that, she's a good kid. I'm not going to lie. I can totally relate, so I ain't got nothing to say about Ava because to this day, my mother still called me mouth almighty, tongue everlasting, which is why I started my YouTube journey because I can talk, as you guys can see, right? So, Naza talked about, she was gonna have a conversation with her because she's not gonna be getting no emails from the school. You need to be doing what the hell you need to do, right? So Matt said, okay, well, since you're gonna talk to her, can I jump in? Right? So that meant that when Ananza is going to have the conversation with Eva, he wants to be present to share his input. I side-eye this. And what I do want is after I share some of the things, because like I always tell you guys, I'm not a parent. So some of the things that I may be feeling may come from because I'm not a parent. So if you are a parent and you want to shed some different light on some of my perspectives that I share about parenting, please feel free to drop down in the comments and do so. Like I said, everything that I discuss on my channel is up for discussion, not debate. I will not be deleting, and as long as it's not disrespectful, I don't mind being corrected or having some conversation to open up my eyes about things. Anyway, I side-eye this because I know that when Matt's two boys get into things, Matt goes and has a conversation with them. I don't ever see Ananza asking, can she jump in? I don't ever see Matt saying, hey, come with me to talk to the boys. So I kind of felt like if she was going to have a conversation with her female child that's not Matt's child, what did he need to be present to jump in for? But again, that could be how I feel because I'm not a parent, so who knows, right? So anyway, she was like, sure, come on down, right? So come on, you can, jump in if you need to. And I also was thinking, right, a lot of this episode had me feeling like, where is Ananza's kid's father? And not in a sense like, where is he? What part of the state is he in, or the city or the world? Meaning, where is he in regards to parenting with Ananza? Because it seems like from the show, Matt kind of conducts himself as if he's the other parent to Ananza's children. I don't see any of the whole, Ava did something, or, Dean did something, or David did something, and I have to reach out to their dad. It's more so I'm going to get this situation situated, and hey, feel free to help me, or let me jump in and help you. I mean, that's nice as a step parent and a person you're also co-parenting with in a sense, but where's the other primary parent, which is her dad? But anywho, that's what was said, right? I'll talk about that as I go further. Anyway, so it switches to the next scene. The next scene is Matt is going to do an interview with Big Boy. I love Big Boy, right? He's a radio personality, a well-renowned one, but I know him from Big Boy's Neighborhood. Apparently, Big Boy has another show called Uncut. So he had Matt on that show, and he was interviewing him and about all his new business opportunities, asking him how it felt to play with Kobe. And once again, Matt was there rehashing his whole life with Kobe and the lessons that he learned from Kobe. And it was a nice interview. The one thing that I do love is I love when Matt speaks about Kobe, because it's always in such a way that you could tell, he respected him very, very much. And it's always nice to hear those beautiful stories, especially about folks who have passed on. So that was pretty much that. They moved on to the next scene, and now Ananza is finally going to address Ava, right? So what I enjoyed about this scene is I enjoyed seeing Ananza be versatile, right? Because we are on episode number 6, and throughout all 6 of the episodes, Ananza is usually the one like, oh my God, wow, don't do that. That's so beautiful. That's so nice. Cut it out. Be nice. We're family. You very rarely see her other side. And when you do, from what I've seen in the past episodes, it's normally been with Matt, and it's been kind of short-lived. But when she went down there to talk to Ava, let me tell y'all something. Ananza did not look like she came to play from the moment she walked in the motherfucking door. She was like, hey, how you doing? Sit down. I got an email. What the fuck is up with that? Oh, you had got an email from my English teacher because she can't stand me. That's the problem. She really hate my guts. I don't know what I did. I'm just a golden child. Ananza was looking at fucking Ava. She was like, what? First of all, I'm not even talking about that teacher. I got an email from another teacher. And second of all, what the fuck is that? And I was like, right, Ananza, right. So you could see that Ava, you could see that Ava is more used to Ananza's, oh my God, that's not nice, be nice, sweet and subtle side. Because what I saw in this scene is that Ava will play with Ananza enough until she gets the other side. See, no, 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 no. That's not. And again, God bless all the folks who are into gentle parenting. Do I disagree with it? No. No, I don't disagree with it. I think, as with anything, it has its pros and its cons. Me personally, I don't have any children yet, so I don't know what I would do when I would have my own. I won't even speak for what I would do when I have my own because, hey, who knows? What I will say, as right now, as an auntie and as a person who partners with young people, and I've been working in the field of education for the past almost 16 years, I don't play with kids. I do not play with kids. I do not. I'm very nice. I'm very compassionate. I'm very supportive and I'm very loving. But I don't play with kids. Right? So when Ava was, playing and she seen Ananza walk in the door serious, I was looking at Ava like, girl, you about to get yanked the fuck up. But so anywho, Ananza's just there basically saying, listen, I don't got time for this, right? So as a result of this bullshit, I'm going to be taking this phone for 2 weeks. So when she said that, girl, you would have thought Ananza cut off Ava's fucking arm because she was like, no, I need my phone. So everybody has confessionals, right? Including the kids. In a confessional, Ava said that she knows that her mom doesn't understand how important it is for her to have her phone because unlike her mother, she has a social life. Number 3,452nd reason why I don't play with motherfuckers. What? Little girl, and see, BJ don't look like she played that game with Ananza. Beverly Johnson look like still too right now because she did something on this episode that lets you know BJ ain't played that shit with Ananza. Ananza, girl, because it'll be 18 and then jumping all in your grill, and it'll be 16 and telling you what she not going to do, and it'll be 21 and poking you in the middle of your forehead and all that. So, girl, you better check it. So, anywho, clock that T, Ananza, okay, girl? So anywho, she was like, basically my mom has no social life. I do. And, all this nonsense, right? So she going on. So now Matt show up, right? And I mean, Matt didn't have much to say. He just was like, Ava, come on, you got to do better, yada, 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 right? So once he saw did something happen? Something happened in those moments that I didn't like. She said something to Ava. Ananza said something to Ava, and again, she said some slick shit back. And Ananza looked at her and was like, girl, don't play with me. So at that point, Matt was like, okay, I'm just going to head out. So he was like, y'all got this. So as he was heading out, Ananza turned to Matt and was like, and I'm going to give the phone to Matt because Matt is going to be more stern than me. Because he says that, I'll just give the phone back in a week and he'll hold it for the full 2 weeks. Ananza, don't get me wrong. I was raised in a household with parents who was basically the same, right? My mom could definitely come across as the more nurturing, loving, you can go to her with anything parent. My dad more so came across as a disciplinarian. Do I think that both entities are needed in the household? 3,000%, right? So I do not mind Ananza being the more compassionate, loving, kind of sweet one, and Matt being more of the disciplinarian. What I didn't like about that scene is that whatever role you play, you're also supposed to be able to display the other side as well, right? So if you're the disciplinarian, you might be more stern most of the time, but you have to also let the kids know that you do have that compassionate side and vice versa. So Ananza, I feel like it's fine for them to know that you're the more loving, sweet, give mommy kiss, but they also supposed to know don't fucking play with your ass either. So all that give the phone back in a week because you know you gonna do that and she know you gonna do that after you just said you was taking the phone for 2 weeks, it's bullshit to me. Right? So I was looking at you like, give it to Matt. Are you a kid? Don't get me wrong, Ananza is my girl, but she irritated me in those moments. So Matt was like, listen, I know you are the softer one, so I'll just take the phone and I'll hold it for 2 weeks. And Matt was very cool in those moments. He didn't come across like the mean stepdad. He actually made jokes. He was like, oh, you want me to text your friends and let them know you want punishment? And Ava laughed about it, like, no, so he does come across cool, but they also know don't play with him. And I think you can also come across sweet too, Ananza, but they should also know don't play with you, right? And I could see you're not cultivating that culture, and that is why she was in her confessional saying all the wild shit she was saying, and some of it to your motherfucking face because it irritated me. But in any event, I'm not in a household. I'm also not a parent. Anywho, my other portion of that too was, where is dad? You know what I'm saying? Like, do they go over dad's house? It's like, what is going on? So I felt like some of the conversation should have also been, and I'm going to let your father know for when you go over there, and stuff like that. So I was just like a little, I guess. But I mean, that's how that scene, right? That's how that scene went, right? So anyway, a few days later, in the next scene, Ananza had some of her friends over. And they was like making some posters for the kids because I think like Dean had a game coming up and they wanted to put like Go Dean. And so all of the friends there, was like 3 of her friends there with her. And they was helping her make the posters and all of that. And then she brought up the IVF journey again. So now when she brought it up, no, I'm lying. Did she bring it up or did Mariana bring it up? I want to say Mariana brought it up because Mariana said, I wanted to ask where you were in your IVF journey, right? Take a little sip. I noticed, y'all, that when I drink water on camera, my mic is so good that y'all can hear me swallowing. Look at God. He's making a way. But anywho, right? Yeah, so Mariana asked her where she was on the journey. And before Naza could even get the words out, I was looking at Mariana, who I love. Mariana actually follows me on IG. Hey, Mariana girl. But in this scene, I was like, Mariana, you want to come for a Healing Hearts session? We can make it happen via Zoom, Skype, however you want to do it, my dear, because I can see there is a ton of trauma surrounding your IVF journey. And I saw that the very first time because remember, the first time she had the breakdown and I was like, oh my God, on that episode when they first brought it up, which is totally understandable. But even this time when she started to talk to Ananza about the IVF journey, everything she said, if I was Ananza, I'd have been like, okay, never mind, because this is bullshit, right? So don't get me wrong. I do respect that as a friend. She's giving her friend the pros and the cons of the journey. Of course you should do that as a friend. But I felt like it weighed too heavily on the con side. And I feel like that because I feel like Mariana might feel like she's not having the best experience regarding the IVF journey. So instead of her sharing from a more positive perspective, she just was really cursing the IVF journey the fuck out. And like I said, if this is something that I plan on embarking on and you telling me all the worst things in the world, are you trying to deter me from embarking on it? And again, I don't think, let me be clear, I don't think that Mariana was saying those things to try to deter Ananza from doing it. I think she honestly wanted to let her know that this is serious. But it was just too many negatives for me, right? So I was just looking at Mariana like, girl, but I can't talk because like I said, I have my own concerns surrounding IVF, right? So I was like, okay, I hear you, girl. I just know that, that was a lot of negative things to share with the person about something that they're about to do if you really want to support them in doing it. So I don't know. Maybe, Mariana, you might want to... Or can I say this? Maybe editing only showed that part of what you shared. I don't know. But I mean, for me, like I said, once you was done with your whole spiel about the weight you gained and the hormones and the up and the down and how you may not get pregnant and how much it may divide your relationship. And how, I was looking like, girl, don't do it. Because it just seemed a little crazy to me. But I was like, okay. So, anywho, the kids came in. So when the kids came in from school, they was like, oh my God, hey, everybody. So when the kids came in, Ava started showing her mom all of her test scores and how she's been doing so excellent and so on and so forth, right? So Ananza was like, okay, so because you did so great, you're now off punishment. Meanwhile, she was only 4 days into her punishment. Her punishment was supposed to be 14 days. So I was like, Ananza, This why these kids can play with you, but okay, girl, whatever, right? So when they got once again, they flashed to Ava on her confessional, and Ava was basically saying like, Anaza know what's up. I knew what I had to do to get what I needed, and I did what I had to do, and she did what I wanted her to do. What's up? Okay, girl. Okay. Oh, okay, girl. Ananza. Ananza. Yeah. Yeah. See that laughing? That don't girl. Give me girl. Okay, girl. Let's see if this behavior persists. Anywho, in the next scene they show Matt and he's off with his friends playing golf. And then you know who we see him playing golf with? None other than Gino and Ray. Where's Stefan? Like, Gino and Ray. So Gino and Ray is on the scene, and I think Matt is asking Ray if he bagged one of Anasa's friends, and they just having like small guy talk. And then finally, Matt brings up that Anaz is very serious about the IVF journey and about us having another baby. So the fellas is like, okay, well, where you at on the journey? He was like, I'm up in the air. Matt, where you at? Matt, repeat that last part. Matt, why the fuck are you telling Gino and Ray that you're up in the air, but then telling Ananza that you're on board? So then he started giving the pros and the cons about what it would look like if they had another baby. Like I said, I understood, well, like I'll say towards the end of the episode, I totally 103,000% understood Matt's reservations surrounding having another baby. What the fuck I did not understand is why Matt was telling Gino and Ray that when he's supposed to be telling Ananza that. So anywho, let's move on to the next scene. In the next scene, because Ava had done so well with her grades, Ananza said, well, listen, we're going to have some mommy daughter time. And she took her to get this makeup tutorial with this professional makeup artist. And, during that time, she just was trying to have some small talk with Ava and kick it. And Ava was laughing and joking. And, I guess it was a cool little scene. She was acting like a young girl, which that's how young girls act. And I did love that Ananza was trying to make sure, she's staying in the loop with her baby. That's her only girl. So she want to make sure that, listen, you okay? In my opinion, no, she's not playing with you like that. But okay, I get where you was going with it, Ananza girl. Anywho, in the next scene, we got to see my girl BJ, Beverly Johnson. That's Ananza's mom, who you guys know I love. She was on FaceTime. She wasn't there with Ananza. Ananza called her on FaceTime, I think, just to check in. And again, one thing I love about BJ working, BJ jet setting all over the world. BJ ain't got time. She like, hey, girl, what's up? So anyway, when she got on the line with her mom, she just was basically giving her a rundown of what's going on in current events in her life and the household, blah, blah, blah. And one of the things that she shared with BJ was that her and Matt were about to embark on the IVF journey to try to have another baby. And BJ was like, and Ananza was like, Mom, did you not hear? She was like, mm-hmm. So she was like, well, what's going on? Are you not happy? She was like, listen, it's not that I'm not happy. It's that you told me that you would try to start having some more Ananza time, some me time, some time for yourself. And I don't think bringing another brand new child into the equation is going to help you have any more time for yourself than you have already, which is none. And I really, really respected Beverly Johnson. That's why I fucks with BJ. That's why I fucks with BJ. I really, really respected her in those moments. Instead of beating around the bush, instead of making it seem like something that it wasn't, she did exactly what my mother, Miss Penny, would do. Hey, let me let you know something, right? And I think it's always best in mother-daughter relationships for mothers to be straight shooters. Because us as daughters, we can pretend like we heard something we wanted to hear because we always want to hold you guys in a high regard and we want to make sure that you deal with us with white gloves and we want you to know and love and care about us. So we don't want to hear anything real from you because in our mind, we might perceive it as you being mean, right? When it's not about you being mean, it's about you being real. And I think if nobody else on this planet is going to be real with you, your mother should always. So I love the fact that BJ didn't wait a few days. She didn't wait till the next phone call. She didn't send no text. She said it straight up right there. Listen, when the fuck are you going to have that time that we talked about for you? When are you going to actually have that? And how are you going to have that with a brand new fucking baby? Right? So Ananza was just basically saying how having a new baby makes her feel complete, and that's what she thinks she needs to do, and she thinks Matt deserves his own girl, and yada, yada, yada. And BJ was like, I mean, I guess, girl, do what you got to do. I'm going back to Jet Setting All Over the World. I'll speak to you later, right? BJ a little feisty old woman here. I like BJ. She reminds me of the women in my family, right? So in the next scene, Ananza said, well, let me pull everybody together so we can have a family meeting. I noticed this is the second time Ananza did this and the second time I side-eyed it, which was involve the young people in a situation that's not necessarily taking place. I don't know if that's a parent thing because in my opinion, you don't want to get kids' hopes up or down, depending on what you're sharing. But anywho, that's what she does. So she said, everybody comes together for a family meeting. So Matt is looking like, well, what's the family meeting about? And she's like, listen, we're going to ask some questions about them having another sibling and see how they feel. Let's take the temperature. So he like, okay, cool. They get them all lined up and they like, listen, if you would like to see us with another baby, let us know. If you wouldn't, then it's a dub, right? What they got was half and half. Dean, David, and Carter, I want to say, Dean, David, and Carter were pretty much on board, right? Yes, Dean, David, and Carter were pretty much on board for the baby. Ava, Isaiah, and Ashton were not. Ashton, when they asked Ashton, they was like, hey, do you? He was like, hell no. Ooh. And then he'll hear Matt. What Ashton said, he said, hell no. Girl, again, I don't play with kids. So the moment you 4 and 6 and shit, saying things intended to be a curse, I don't give a damn if it's only hell, you was getting yanked up and draped up. But again, like I said, folks into the gentle parenting, they was laughing when he in school, cursing like that when he 8, 9, and 10, and y'all can't get him to stop because he been cursing since he was 6. Y'all let me know how that worked out for y'all. But anywho, that's what he said. He was like, hell no. So I was like, oh my God. So they laughed it off. And then again, they start showing the kids in their confessionals. And you saw the kids saying why they said yeah, why they said no. What the kids that said no was, the general consensus was the same, which was, they feel like having all 6 of them already is a handful. So incorporating another baby into the equation, they don't think that would be a good idea. But one of the things that I found odd that, again, I'm peeking at is that Ava said, well, if they bring another baby into this household, I'm definitely going to live with my friend Christy. Who the fuck is Christy? First of all. Second of all, why not with her father? So I have some major concerns about what is going on regarding the co-parenting between Ananza and them kids' father. Because don't get me wrong, I get it that from what I hear. I didn't hear the details. I didn't get all deep into it. But from what I hear, that there is some up and down regarding him and Ananza. I definitely understand that. But that doesn't negate the fact that he is the father. So is he involved in the co-parenting? So I hope that comes up at some point during the show because I would like to know. But what I think is that because this is Matt and Ananza's show and Matt is more of the decision maker here and him and the ex don't get along, I don't think they're going to have no conversation about him. But I was like, okay, no worries, right? So anywho, they was like, okay, well, we have deal breakers and tiebreakers here. Let's see, Ananza and Matt, who do y'all want the baby? So Ananza was like, yeah, great, I'm on board. So Matt was like, huh? So Ananza was like, what? So he was like, She was like, you didn't hear the question? Are you on board for the baby? Matt was like, I'm 57% not on board, but I'm 43% on board. If y'all think Ananza had another side when she went to talk to Ava, there's a third side when she is really thoroughly upset with Matt. And Ananza whipped that side out ASAP Rocky. Okay? She looked at motherfucking Matt. She was like, oh, that's the numbers you have. That's the percentages. That's the percentages. Not a problem. You know what, guys? Since nobody seems to be on board with bringing another child in, we will not bring another child in. So everybody could sense that Ananza was off their fucking ass. So the kids started scattering like, okay, we're going to go bye. So Matt is just there with the dumb face like, okay, how do I fix this? So he went in the kitchen and she was there sitting there eating waffles. And again, her whole demeanor changed. You could see she was not in the mood for Matt, the motherfucking kids, the cameras, or nothing else, right? So he just was like, hey, babe, can I get some of your waffles? No. Can we talk? Mm-mm. Do you have time? Not 1 second. Are you available? Not in this lifetime. Can we talk? No, we cannot. I was like, ooh. So she was basically saying that, number one on the list, why am I just finding this out right now in front of the kids? We had this conversation, you and I privately, and you told me one thing. Now here we are in front of the kids, and not only are you embarrassing me in front of them, but you're telling me something totally different from what you already said. So she was like, listen, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm not going through this whole IVF journey, which sounds like it's a fucking massacre, for you to say in the end, or even right now, that you don't really want this baby. No, that's a dub. That's a dub. I don't want a baby. I'm good. And I'm not mad at you because you don't want no baby. I'm mad at you because you waited to this time to tell me. But in any event, this is what you do, which is what I think the issue was for the remainder of this episode. I think the issue was that because Matt kept trying to make it seem like, oh, the issue is that you're getting mad because I have cold feet. No, I'm not getting mad that you have cold feet. I'm getting mad that you waited to now to tell me when I already asked you this. And this is what you did the last time we had our breakup that pissed me the fuck off, that turned everything upside down. Why are you here repeating these same behaviors? And those are the behaviors that broke us up the last fucking time. So anywho, Ananza went upstairs and slammed the door and was off their ass, right? And Matt was like, okay, she's really mad. So in this last scene, okay, Ananza was in the bed, and you could see all over Ananza, she still was off mad ass. So he came and got in the bed, and again, he was making another attempt to smooth it over. So now he's shifting into, no, I only said that because I had a little bit of cold feet, but I don't got them more, so I want a baby, so let's have the baby. So she was like, that's not true, Matt. That's not true. That's not the case. That's not the case. You said what you meant down there, and I'm only adhering to what you meant. Let's move forward. So he's like, no, that's not the case. I do want to have the baby. And then you know what I seen in those moments that Matt did that show every bit of his immaturity. And I pray that Matt come and get an Operation Hill 100 Heart session, and not with quite a few, shall I say, and not with Ananza. He needs individual therapy, right? Because one of the things that Matt did in those moments was, because he couldn't smooth it over with Ananza, he started to get angry. And the difference between when he gets angry and when Ananza gets angry is because he's so immature that his anger is very mean and disrespectful, in my personal opinion. So like when Ananza was mad, it was just pretty much that I'm off you, I don't feel like talking. I'm not gonna lie, she did do a little bit of name calling, like calling him an ass and you're a jerk and stuff like that. But his anger was like spiteful stuff to hurt her. So like one of the things that he said was like, oh yeah, I do want to have a baby, so what I got to do, go get somebody else pregnant? Fellas, let me tell y'all something. Right? Because I've been in this situation before. If you are with a woman, right, and there is some infidelity within your relationship, and that woman takes you back, and you guys are deciding to move forward, don't ever in your life make any joke or any reference to any infidelity taking place again. Because we would not find it as a joke. It would not be a game. And it can go the fuck up from there. So when he made that sick as comment, because remember, there was some allegations with him and Santana, allegedly. When he said that part, Ananza was like, okay, motherfucker, now this conversation is over because you about to piss me off, right? But before they even got there, she also was trying to explain points to him. And this was another thing that he did, right? She was like, you don't see the point. Do you need me to explain it to you? He was like, yeah, explain it to me since you have your PhD in nothing. So again, that went on, right? So he was trying to explain his case, which was bullshit, that he had cold feet, and that's why that's you, sweetie. Just lay out the same thing you laid out for Gino and Ray, what your issues are. So now, instead of him being mature enough to say these are my issues and just lay it out so they can have some discussion about it, he did the thing that I absolutely hate and that irritates me, right? Before I tell you what he did, right? When you go into a relationship and you are the breadwinner, that means that you're aware that the other person is not. If you don't want to be in a relationship where you assume all the financial responsibility, then don't be in it. But what you cannot do is take on that role and then continuously bring it up or throw it in a person's face because you've decided to take on the role. So he said, well, I did have some cold feet and some reservations about it because I'm the only person here assuming the financial responsibility for everything in his house. It costs him. So I really, really respect Ananza because in those moments, Ananza head didn't spin around like the motherfucker exorcist the way mine would have. But she did say, okay, yes, it costs you financially, but a lot of your actions and behaviors cost me in other motherfucking ways. So let's talk about who's losing here. And she started to bring up all his motherfucking shit since we talking about what it costs motherfuckers around here. And I respected that. That's right. Don't try to deter me and make us motherfucker. You want to pay all the bills around here so you can be the motherfucking man and you call all the motherfucking shots. Okay, now you paying the bills. What you bitching about, bro? What are you bitching about? But like I said, instead of her going where I would have went, which was tearing his whole face off and shredding him in those moments, see, she just said, okay, since we going here, let's go. Let's talk about what cost who what. And she said, you being feeble-minded and immature and flippy floppy and bad at decision making and all of these things that you are being right now, when you were that back in 2019, motherfucker, that cost me. How about that? I was like, okay. She said, which is why I'm making a decision not to go forward with this, because I'm not going to let you cost me this time how you cost me the last time, since we talking about what cost who here. I was like, come on, Anaza. Anaza, you better, girl, I saw you in those moments, right? So he again, Matt, his level of anger is very mean and nasty and in my opinion, borderline disrespectful. And that annoyed me, right? That really, really annoyed me because I felt like it didn't have to go there, right? So anywho, and I also feel like, let me say this too. I think Ananza, my dear, you also might need an Operation Hill 100 Heart session because you have a lot of trauma surrounding what y'all went through in that last breakup. You know, and I want to be fair to you though and say this. I don't think you just walking around with the trauma on the tip, sitting on your shoulder. As soon as something happens, you bring it up. But I do feel like when he does repeat or mimic some of those behaviors from back then, it gets you in your bag about what happened back then, and you automatically are in a defense mode. Which I don't think that's an unfair reaction. But if we're going to continue talking about what happened in the past, how are we going to move forward? But I understand what your rebuttal to that can also be, we're talking about the past because you're still repeating those same fucking behaviors. Right? So, I mean, it was heated. This show got heated and I was here for it. And not because I want to see them go through anything, but just because I like reality shows that is focused on the real. I don't like when people make up storylines for these shows to be like, oh, we want to make it interesting. No, you could see in those moments that what was taking place between that couple was real motherfucking life. And I can appreciate that because as a person who's been in a relationship for almost 8 years, it is sometimes when shit get hot and heavy and you looking like, wait, motherfucker, I know the fuck you lying. Let me get you the fuck together. So I could respect them showing that to the cameras because that is their real life and not just a storyline that they was creating. So it got hot and heavy. Now, one part that I saw also too was that they said the night before and Anaza took a pregnancy test and it said she was pregnant. So now I'm thinking, was the whole bring everybody together to get their feelings and all of that about having another baby because you are already pregnant? Right? So I wasn't clear on that part. And then also I follow Anaz on social media. And what it looks like to me is that you keep showing either very old pictures or your face only. So I wonder, Ananza, are you pregnant? If you are, I'm so happy. If you are, I'm so happy. Number one, because I didn't want you to have to go through the IVF journey because the way Mariana described it, I didn't want that for you, Ananza. And second of all, I do love the fact that, you guys were able to do it naturally, and you're getting what you want by God's design, right? Not by forcing it or any of the sort, right? And also, if that is genuinely what you guys both want, because I think it's also different when it's like, oh, when we're talking about the prospect of it, right? That's one thing. But to say the actual words, that's just like my own relationship right now. Pookie and I are not planning to have a baby, but we're also not doing much to prevent it. Now, granted, when we just talking about it in theory, it's like, we ain't ready for that yet. We ain't doing that. But I think we both would have different feelings if I said, oh, hey, I'm pregnant, right? God forbid. Oh, Lord, child, not yet. But, so I think that if it is a baby that you guys have conceived, I think it's a blessing. I'm happy for you, and so on and so forth. But let me tell you, right before the episode ended, again, Ananza was there basically giving her point, like, I'm not doing this with you again. If you want to start with these shenanigans again and going backwards and moving forward and then tripling backwards, and that I'm not here for that this time. I'm not doing that again with you. So when Matt got up and left his skinny ass face out the door, he said some slick shit like, well, maybe you could go do it somewhere else. See, Ananza? I'd have got the fuck up and followed that little bony faced bitch out the door behind him and said, what the fuck you just said? And then it went up from there. One piece of cursing him the fuck out. Like, watch your mouth. Okay? But like I said, I can see that Matt can definitely get in that mode when he gets angry. I think, Ananza, you need to get in the mode of checking his ass when he try it. Because I didn't like that, okay? Get your shit together, Matt, all right? But it says next episode, they're going to be back at their therapy session. So I think that they're making an attempt to get it together. It just looked like they got to get through this ugly part. And it looked like it's going to get ugly in the next episode. So y'all tune in. Y'all was doing a lot of hating on the Bonds bunch. I don't like that. Y'all tune in. And anyway, in any event, I'm locked in. This is episode 6. You can go back and look at all of my reviews from episodes 1 through 5 because I've been reviewing the show since the first episode, and I do truly enjoy. As always, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate the support. Like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys soon. Mwah.